Well, it makes no difference if you're still awake and bleary-eyed or you've just switched off your alarm and are stirring. We're all on World Cup time, and it's been a really good World Cup to be involved with. I can tell you that we've certainly got a lot to follow after that Portugal win over Croatia earlier on overnight. But Switzerland and Algeria, could they come up trumps like Algeria did against Austria in their last game when we had that remarkable 3-3 draw? It's a game that Perry Groves watched. And Perry, if you're going to maybe pick an ideal for this game, what sort of game could we expect?
I think you'll have Switzerland who try and get control of possession. You went about Granit Xhaka, obviously the Swiss captain, who plays a little bit deeper in that conduct position with Freuler next to him. And then with Algeria against Austria was quite a strange game because both teams went into it knowing that a draw would see them both through, and neither team really wanted to play against Spain. Whoever comes second, that's been Austria. So there was like a lot of excitement with that, and the Algerian side, they've got a lot of resilience. You know, we've just seen Riyad Mahrez, the captain there of Algeria, scored his 2 goals against Austria, so you've got players that, you know, will take a lot of responsibility. But one player that really did impress me actually for Algeria against Austria was Bentaleb. Bentaleb, obviously the ex-Spurs player, he played a little bit deeper, and sometimes he goes in between Mondi and Bezabiani, the 2 Algerian centre-halves, and he turns it into like a back 3 even when they're in possession, so he goes that little bit deeper. So it'd be interesting to see how Switzerland try and combat that.
I'll run through the 2 teams in a moment. I just want to talk about one of their players, Captain Granit Xhaka. It's his 150th appearance for his country. He's Switzerland's all-time leading appearance maker. You saw him a lot when he was at Arsenal. How does the Granit Xhaka of the Arsenal days compare with the Granit Xhaka of today?
Well, I think obviously he had the Arsenal fans on his back, didn't he, with the incident he had where he was substituted and he threw the captain's armband down and they booed him off, and it looked like he'd never play for Arsenal again. But Mikel Arteta knew that he needed a player of his quality and his experience, and Arteta actually changed his position because he said he normally was known for a deep line midfield player. He played him in like the inside left position for Arsenal, like a 4-1-4-1 formation. Had his best season for Arsenal. The last he was there was an agreement, you know, give me one more season. Got 7 Premier League goals. Then he goes on to a different level, goes to Bayer Leverkusen. Then he captains them to their invincible season where they do the domestic double, you know, in Germany. So yeah, I think he's a player that obviously had unbelievable sort of ability, but then as he's got older, like a fine wine, he's matured. And I think he's just very, very comfortable in his own skin. You know, he knows what he's about, takes responsibility, and he's got the strange stat that his brother, Chula, I think he played for Albania. So that's just a sort of strange anomaly from that point of view. But yeah, he's a top quality player.
The countdown has begun. It's almost ended. And the round of 32 fixture between Switzerland and Algeria is underway, and it's Algeria who kick off in all white against Switzerland, who are in all red. Switzerland attacking the goal away to the right in this first half, with Köbel in goal, Zakaria, Elvedi, Akanji and Rodriguez at the back, Freuler and Xhaka in central midfield, Ndoye, Manzambi and Vargas behind Mbolo in attack. Algeria, Lucas Zidane in goal, Bengali, Mondi, Ben Sebaini and Ait Nouri in defence, Zerouki and Bentaleb in central midfield, Mahrez, Aouar and Shaibi in support of young Ibrahim Mazza, the youngest player in the Algeria squad, up front. And it's Switzerland who hit the ball into central midfield. It's cut out by Algeria, who are attacking the goal to the way to the left, with Riyad Mahrez on the right, stumbles under a challenge from Manzambi. No free kick, and now the latter charges down the Switzerland left on the far side and plays it to Vargas. 3 Algeria players come across to cover the run of Ruben Vargas, and I think it may well be an Algeria throw.
It just shows you there the strength of Johan Manzambi, the 20-year-old Swiss player who's playing in that sort of 10 position. He just picked the ball up in the left back position, and within 2-3 seconds he's carried the ball right up that left touchline, a good 40-50 yards. In the end it was Bengali who managed to get a little touch on, and play it off of Vargas so that Algeria could get their throw-in in the right back position.
It is fascinating, isn't it, to see two players who are the youngest members of their squad, Yohan Manzambi of Switzerland and Ibrahim Mazza of Algeria, up against each other, playing so well at a major tournament at such a young age.
Yeah, I think when you're that young, Mike, you don't have any fear, you don't overthink anything, you know, your brain's very clear, you don't think about the what ifs, you just want to go out and play naturally, as both players have been doing. Just looking at Algeria, we was wondering who was going to play in the 10 position. It looks like it's going to be quite fluid between Oua and Shaibi at the moment. Shaibi playing in the 10, just dropping that little bit deeper. Algeria splitting their two centre halves and pushing the fullbacks wide, Aït-Nouri on the left hand side and Bagali on that right hand side.
The ball is currently at the feet of the Algeria goalkeeper, Luka Zidane, son of Zinedine, who of course has a great pedigree in the World Cup, both positive and negative. Of course, Zinedine Zidane's last ever game as a footballer was in the World Cup final, and we all know what happened then. And that was 20 years ago, Perry.
That is frightening. Mind you, it's only old people who say that time flies, isn't it? Never a young person go, "Oh, don't time fly."
Ball has gone out of play for a Switzerland throw in the right back position. That's the near side as we look. Switzerland have this habit of getting knocked out at the round of 16 stage in the World Cup. 5 of their last six appearances in this tournament, they've gone out at that stage. They're going to get to that stage today, and they will come up. The winners of this game will play either Colombia or Ghana next Tuesday. They play in the early hours of tomorrow morning. Zidane from the left back position out of his own penalty area clears down this near side, picked up by Switzerland, dealt with quite nicely, and is just prodded out of play by Dan Ndoye, playing on the right wing for Switzerland. Joined Nottingham Forest from Bologna last summer. Be hoping to have more of an impact this coming season than he did in his first.
Yeah, just look at Switzerland out of position. They got into a 4-4-2 shape with Manzambi goes up level with Mbolo.
Nice ball down the left here. It's forcing Kerbal to come out of his area and clear into touch. Good foot race between defender and attacker. Throw into Algeria, which they want to take quickly through Ryan Aït-Nouri.
Yeah, just a little example there. We said about how high Algeria like to push their fullbacks. Aït-Nouri was the furthest player forward for Algeria on this left-hand side, just playing in a flat back four, but in possession. Basically, he's playing as a left wing back. Same with Bagali on that right-hand side.
Remy Bensebaini of Borussia Dortmund has it on this near side for Algeria. Played every minute of the World Cup so far. Bensebaini now into midfield to find young Mazza, who spreads it nicely out wide to the far side in a very advanced position for Algeria. Into the area, it's dummied by Mahrez. The eventual shot came in, but it was pulled rather badly and didn't really trouble Kerbal in the Switzerland goal.
Yeah, really good play from Mazza, just dropping deep from that centre forward position, gets that Bagali on that right hand side. It's a fantastic little over from Riyad Mahrez at the near post, and as the ball comes in, it's Aït, who's round about the penalty spot. He actually just kicks it completely. He's got to make sure that he had better concentration levels. That's a gilt-edged chance for Algeria. And just a little example there with Bentaleb, we mentioned before, dropping in deep in between the two centre halves. I think playing this coming up to 6 minutes, he's probably had sort of 6 or 7 touches already. So he's the one that I think that Switzerland have got to be aware of and try and stop him from playing, because that's where the attack first started from.
Nabil Bentaleb is one of those players who's currently out of contract. A lot of contracts expired on June the 30th. He's one of those players who is available to be picked up by another club. 31 years of age now, the former Spurs midfielder. His team have it on this near side. Good possession of the ball from Algeria. We've had 6.5 minutes play in Vancouver. Switzerland 0, Algeria 0 in the round of 32 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. You're listening to Talk Sport and Talk Sport 2 And it's Bentaleb. Forward to this near side to Ben Sebaini. Crosses the halfway line and then just steers it to his left to find Ait Nouri. Back again to the halfway line. This is a good lesson in ball retention.
Yeah, very, very comfortable possession. Mazza's being very cute.
And they've gone straight down the middle with the long ball. Down goes Zerouki, claiming he was fouled inside the area, but the referee Yael Falcon of Argentina is unmoved.
Yeah, no, just a slight coming together. Zerouki was never going to get the ball, just made a run from deep. A big gap in between Elvedi and Akanji, the two Swiss centre halves, because Mazza is basically playing as a false nine, dropping deep. In the end, it just goes through to Colbelt. Referee 100% right.
Mazza has it in central midfield. Ball's clipped to the left angle of the penalty area, near side as we look for Algeria, attacking the goal away to the left. Ait Nouri. Switzerland very much on the back foot at the moment. Algeria dominating the ball, but as we know, Switzerland incredibly compact and disciplined in defence, and that's exactly what they're doing now. And it does mean that Algeria are going to have to be quite cute to break them down.
Yeah, they've been very impressive actually, Algeria, this first 8 minutes. They completely dominate possession. They're really fluid in the forward areas with Mazza as that false nine, just drop a little bit deeper. Duar is on the left hand side of the 3, and Shaibi playing as the 10.
Algeria, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat in the group stage. They romped their qualifying campaign in the African section, 7 points clear of Uganda. They won 8 of their 10 games, and of course they were Africa Cup of Nations winners only 7 years ago, and Riyad Mahrez was part of that squad, so plenty of experience out there at the top level. And at the moment Algeria are enjoying more of the possession after 9 minutes, as we get a replay of that Zerouki incident. Akanji was the player that came across. Was that a penalty, Perry?
No, Akanji just did really well. Zerouki's never going to get onto the ball. Akanji just makes sure that he just angles his run so he goes across Zerouki. So they're coming together quite right. The referee Yael Falcon just waves play on. Just looking at Algeria as well, you can tell the confidence. They've only lost 2 games last 27 matches, if you don't include penalties. Obviously draws are going to penalties, which is a fantastic record. They just look very, very assured in possession.
They're working the ball quickly and precisely and very punchily to this left side. Infield it goes, played forward but cut out by Remo Freuler in the Switzerland midfield, and Xhaka can play it to the far side to Vargas. Chance for Switzerland to now attack. Good play. Manzambi charging into the penalty area on the left hand side, goes around his man, gets to the byline, cuts it back, and is put in right in front of goal by Brielle Mbolo, and completely against the run of play. Switzerland take the lead after 10 minutes of this round of 32 fixture. Algeria stunned. Switzerland 1, Algeria 0.
What a counter-attack from Switzerland. Basically they said to Algeria, you can have the ball, play it in front of us, but when we get it, we're going to be direct. It all starts with Granit Xhaka just picking the ball up in the central area, just puts it out onto the left-hand side to Vargas. Vargas releases Manzambi takes it down that left-hand side. He's 1v1 against Mondi, and then he just goes on the outside. Mondi's got to do a lot better defensively. He's got to make sure that when he gets in the 18-yard box, he gets his tackling. Manzambi just goes right on the outside of him, gets to the byline, and then it's the question is, can you have the patience, can you have the vision to pick out the right pass? Exactly what he does. Mbolo, where all top centre forward should be, right in the middle of the goalposts, on the edge of the 6-yard box, comes to his left foot, just sweeps it into an empty net. Switzerland go 1-0 up here in Vancouver against run of play against Algeria. Brilliantly crafted goal from Switzerland, brilliant play from Manzambi down that left-hand side.
Well, that is when the assist almost outweighs the goal itself. Mbolo, who scored 2 goals in 4 appearances at the last World Cup in his 90th appearance for Switzerland, gives them an early lead, but it all came down to 20-year-old Yohan Manzambi, who himself has scored 3 goals at this World Cup.
Yep, and that's his second assist as well. I mentioned earlier, he didn't come on to the 72nd minute against Bosnia. That had a massive effect with his brace. And there was just a little glimpse, wasn't there, we said in that first minute, where Manzambi picked the ball up on that left-hand side in the left-back position and just marauded up that left-hand touchline. That is a player that's playing with no fear whatsoever. He was completely free in his head. When he picked it up, he had one thought only. He said, I'm going to take on Mondi 1v1, and it's just really, really shocking defending from Mondi, let him go on the outside. But picking that past Manzambi as well when he gets to the byline, just setting Mbolo to put it in the empty net. That's why we love football, Mike, because that game, you would actually think that Switzerland were a little bit too passive in that first 10 minutes, weren't having their bellies tickled. But obviously, they've set their stall out tactically, and at the moment, it's worked to perfection.
Well, they just defended very compactly, didn't allow Algeria any space to get through the lines, and then suddenly when the ball broke, they released it to Manzambi, and as you say, only had one thing on his mind. I mentioned that he scored 3 goals at this World Cup. That's 3 goals from 3 shots on target as well.
Do you say that's the definition of efficiency?
Oh yeah, hyper efficiency. Cleared away by Kerbel, the Switzerland goalkeeper. We've had 13 minutes on Talk Sport. It's Switzerland 1, Algeria 0. The winners will play either Colombia or Ghana next Tuesday. They play in the early hours of tomorrow morning, Colombia and Ghana. It's worth pointing out as well that if Switzerland do win this game, they will play in Vancouver for the 3rd game running, because they beat Canada here as well. Long range effort coming in from Usam Awa, but it's a tame effort that's easily claimed by Kerbel.
Yeah, well, I didn't really get connection with it. Just 20 yards out, getting it onto his right foot, just roll through to Kerbel. He can just put his cap on it, basically. And the beauty of that goal from Mbolo, no VAR checks. How refreshing.
Oh yes. Let's see if we can get through a game without a VAR check. I know that there's been VAR looking at things continuously, but certainly without any stoppages for VAR. Here comes Switzerland down the near side there, right, and Doy just has the ball prodded away from him by Ait Nouri, who then clears towards the halfway line. Tracking back is Ricardo Rodriguez, worth mentioning, even though he's not Switzerland's record appearance maker. He's only 8 appearances behind Granit Xhaka. It's his 142nd appearance tonight. Rodriguez, now 33 years of age and playing his football for Real Betis in Spain. This is his 4th World Cup. A really consistent performer over the years is Rodriguez. Here comes Manzambi down the left edge of the area again. He clips the ball in and Doy brings it down. Freuler lays it off. And it's a miss kick from around the penalty spot by Denis Zakaria when well placed.
Yes, that Manzambi again causing havoc down that left-hand side. Looked like he'd overrun it. Gets to the byline, gets his cross in. When it comes to Ndoye at the far post, he should be volleying it first time. Takes a touch, ends up scuffing it.
And now he's down injured. I don't know what the injury is, but he's unhappy. He's rolling around on the floor as Manzambi.
That's a sign that it's not that bad. When you're rolling about on the floor, you're putting your shirt over your head.
Well, it didn't happen during his run and cross, so I don't quite know what's happened. Something off the ball or a freakish injury? It's rather odd.
There's nobody around him whatsoever. There was no challenge that came in from Bogali on that right-hand side where he just dinked the ball to the far post. So from that observation, you would think it was a muscle injury.
He may have overstretched when he initially picked up the ball. Groin maybe, I don't know. He's walking towards the touchline. He's limping slightly.
Do you know what I think it was? I think when he was marauding down that left-hand side and he just overran it, I think Bogali might have actually just trod on his right boot to say he doesn't look in any distress whatsoever.
He was explaining to the physio was sort of rubbing his tummy to say there was something up there. Maybe he's not feeling very well.
Yeah, perhaps he needs some a bit of indigestion.
So 1-0 Switzerland lead thanks to Manzambi's run and Mbolo's finish. We've had 17 minutes on Talk Sport.
The refreshing thing about Manzambi, obviously he's playing in the 10 position, but he's ended up out on that left-hand side a few times, where the 3 times he's had the ball, he's gone on the outside. He hasn't looked to check in. If you check in when you come inside, then you're just running into a plethora of bodies. And we talk about the England wingers, aren't they? For if it Madueke or Rashford or Anthony Gordon, keep cutting inside all the time, just keep going into loads of bodies, where say he's got no thought other than right, I'm going to try and go on the outside of you. That creates a different angle where defenders have got to get themselves turned side on. And when the ball came to the far post to Ndoye, that was a gilt-edged chance where he should be just smashing it first time with his left foot, and decides to take a touch.
He's off the field at the moment, so Switzerland down to 10 as Algeria attack down this near side, the left. Nouri hesitates to cross, waiting for an opening, still keeps possession though. Mazza from 20 yards out has a shot blocked inside the area, and Switzerland clear. Manzambi still not able to come back on with his team defending. In it comes from Mahrez, dealt with at the back by Akanji, and now played forward. Manzambi's back on. He wanted an early ball played in to try and catch out Algeria. Instead he has it just inside his own half and goes all the way back to Zakaria.
Yeah, really good play initially on that left hand side from Nouri. I could hear the shout of nuts from here, Mike, because Zakaria had his legs open, and then Nouri just put the ball through his legs, and what he should be doing, should be crossing it first time, takes another touch. That enables Elvedi to come out and get the block in. So just a couple of times Algeria have been in decent positions in the final third, but just taking too long to get their crosses in.
Switzerland lead through Breel Mbolo's goal against the run of play. As Switzerland hit it long into the Algeria half.
Granit Xhaka's just got away one there, because Kobo in the Swiss goal had actually gone to the left hand of his goal, because he thought Granit Xhaka was going to roll it away from the goal. Granit Xhaka, with his outside his left foot, he actually rolls it dead centre of the goal. You can hear a bit of a consternation there with the crowd there. Got a little bit tense, but lucky enough for Granit Xhaka, he's only just rolled it back instead of a firm pass.
Granit Xhaka made his debut for Switzerland against England in June of 2011, 15 years ago, and he's still going strong. Algeria attack, long ball down this left side. It's a good ball as well. Aouar can't keep it in, and it comes off him under pressure from Zakaria and goes out for a Switzerland goal kick. Perry Groves is with us on Talk Sport.
Aouar just got to be a lot stronger there. Again, getting in down that left hand side. Zakaria just coming out, really good defending, because all he does as Aouar goes to engage the ball, as he's in his stride, Zakaria just leans into him with his left shoulder, knocks him off balance.
Just had a replay of that Xhaka back pass, combined with the reaction of his coach Murat Yakin, and there was a big no. I have to say, Murat Yakin is probably the most stylish head coach at this World Cup. He's as cool as a cucumber, and he dresses so sharply.
You sound like Amy Winehouse there. No. Xhaka trying to go to rehab.
Worth mentioning as well that Yakin replaced his Algerian counterpart in the head coach role at Switzerland, because Vladimir Petkovic is the Algeria head coach, having been head coach of Switzerland for 7 years prior to Yakin's arrival.
And took them to the quarterfinals Euros in 2020, and there's 7 of the current Swiss squad were in that starting 11 in the Euros in 2020. So obviously there's a connection there, a lot of respect between the players and the Algerian manager.
And when the two head coaches greeted each other just before kick-off, you could see there was a real mutual respect between the pair. Petkovic, 11 years, Yakin senior at 62. We're almost at the midway point of the first half. Switzerland lead through Mbolo's goal in the 10th minute, and they have it on the far side, their left, and it's with Manzambi out to Rodriguez, crossed in, takes a deflection, and we'll go out for a Switzerland corner over on the far side away to our right.
Yeah, they've been very, very progressive down their left-hand side. Riyad Mahrez, the Algerian captain, doesn't really do his defensive duties, because he wants to save his legs going the other way. What that meant was Rodriguez can get advanced, exactly what he's done there when he picks the ball up to give it to Vargas. Vargas again, no hesitation of getting across it and gets a block. Corner for Switzerland on their left-hand side.
Algeria organising their defence as Ricardo Rodriguez with an outswinger is headed away at the near edge of the 6-yard area by Bentaleb.
Right, he's got one more chance. That's the cardinal sin, you hit in the first man from a corner at the near post. Rodriguez just trying to obviously outswing with his left foot. You've got to make sure that you miss that first man, because your centre halves already and Akanji have run 60-70 yards up the pitch. Give them something to go and attack.
Switzerland do have possession though inside their own half, and Manzambi goes back to Akanji, and then it's into central midfield where the captain Xhaka plays it short. It's down the near side, loose pass from Zakaria. Algeria now have possession, dressed in all white with green trim. The Greens they could be called, or the Desert Foxes. I think the Desert Foxes sounds cooler. Trying to negotiate their way into the round of 16. Long ball forward, too long, and all the way through to Gregor Kobel in the Switzerland goal. Also played every minute of the World Cup so far, the Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper. Switzerland have it on the far side with Rodriguez. Moves midway inside the Algeria half. It's got support from Vargas and from the touchline. Then Manzambi goes back to Xhaka, into Akanji midway inside Algeria territory. Hydration break is on the way once the move breaks down.
Just looking at Switzerland, they just look very, very assured. They all look very comfortable. We just looked at Akanji there, picked the ball up in the centre half position on the left hand side. There's nothing going on, so he just carried the ball 40-50 yards.
It's a nice ball out to this near side on the right for Zakaria. Time to look up, strikes the defender and goes out of play for a Switzerland throw-in, which Zakaria is going to leave, and it's going to be Dan and Doy to take.
Well, Dan the man, you better have a long throw, because if you gesture to your players to get away from you and then decide to take it short.
Into Zakaria, who gave him the ball. Now Manzambi into the middle. Akanji switches it to the far side, the left. Rodriguez drives it in. The shot was pulled and it was low. Could have possibly been connected with inside the area, but no one was able to do so, and that prompts the referee to blow his whistle and take everybody over to the dugouts for the hydration break here in Vancouver. It's the most northerly of the venues at this World Cup, which tells you that it's normally the coolest venue. They don't actually have any air conditioning. They do actually have infrared heating for the winter, because obviously it gets very cold in these parts.
Perhaps this is a Horlicks break instead of a hydration break. It's one for the teenagers.
I like that one.
You can Google it.
And you can probably hear in the background one of Canada's finest musicians, Bryan Adams. Summer of '69. We've heard plenty of Bon Jovi in New York and New Jersey. We're living on a prayer. Up this way, it's all Shania Twain and Bryan Adams.
Yeah, all happy with the royalties coming in. We have to say it's been a really good first 22 and a half minutes. Say Algeria started off, didn't they? The first sort of 6-7 minutes dominating possession. Switzerland just going back into their 4-4-2 shape, and I think they. From Switzerland's point of view, I think like a boxer where you sort of shadow box and you just sussing the opposition out, and that looked like what Switzerland were doing. Didn't look troubled at all. And we said about Manzambi before the game, the impact he's had for Switzerland. He had a massive impact in this game, and obviously created the first goal, picking it up on the left hand side. Mondi, the Algerian centre-half, has got to do better, but Manzambi just goes past him if he's not there, gets to the byline, cuts it back, and Bolo, as all top centre-forwards do, in the Erling Haaland position, where you're in the middle of the two posts in the 6-yard box, he sweeps over with his left foot, and it wasn't slightly against the run of play, it was totally against the run of play. Not that Switzerland, were sort of under the cosh at all, and ever since then they've just gradually got themselves into the game on possession-wise, and they just look very, very assured. They look very comfortable. Every player knows their job. I think obviously you have the calming influence of Granit Xhaka in that midfield area. And from Algeria's point of view, we've had a couple of decent sort of positions on the left-hand side where maybe they can get their cross in just a little bit earlier. But if I was Vladimir Petkovic, the Algerian manager, I'd just be a little bit worried about defensively down their right. Right, Riyad Mahrez doesn't really want to do that defensive duties where Beghali, the Algerian right back, is getting a little bit exposed.
Earlier on this evening, or last night if you want to put it, we're now in the early hours of the morning in the UK, Spain beat Austria 3-0 to move into the round of 16, where next Monday in Dallas they will play Portugal, who beat Croatia 2-1 in a barnstorming match. The second half was fascinating and it ended in high drama. Ronaldo scored a penalty, Ramos got the winning header, but Croatia had a goal disallowed with almost the last kick of the game after a VAR decision for the slightest, and it's a snicko of slightest touches, to deny them an equaliser that would have taken it to extra time. So it's Portugal against Spain in Dallas next Monday. Coming up later today, we have round of 32 games between Australia and Egypt at 7 o'clock from Dallas. Adam Bridge and Scott Minto will be your commentary team, and then at 11 o'clock the romance continues. Cape Verde against Argentina, the World Cup champions from 4 years ago, in Miami of all places for Lionel Messi. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce will be there. That's at 11 o'clock this evening.
So about that Croatia disallowed goal, the equaliser, is that the first ever follicle intervention? If you'd have thought you'd mention follicles in the game of football.
If you haven't seen it, watch the highlights.
Don't, because it'll just wind you up.
Yeah. It was decided on a snickometer intervention, not even a visual intervention, because you cannot see a deviation in the ball when it's supposedly strikes the head of a Croatia player.
Well, if you watch the highlights, you'll probably like the hair highlight that made it obviously disallowed. Snickometer and football just don't go. Doesn't sound right, and it isn't right. Anyway, let's move on.
Almost half an hour played in Vancouver. Switzerland 1, Algeria 0. Breel and Bolo with the goal after 10 minutes, and it's Algeria who have it, attacking the goal away to the left, and it's at the feet of Rami Bensebaini, who wanted a bit more movement up front. So Algeria move it to the far side of the field, where it's with Riyad Mahrez. Back down the line on the far side to Rafik Belghali, who started all 3 games of this World Cup prior to this one. And then the ball is switched from right to left into the feet of Ryan Aït-Nouri. Cut out though by Dan Ndoye, who's on the run, and Aït-Nouri is out of position. Ndoye is fouled by the Manchester City player. Free kick to Switzerland. It's one of those frustrating fouls, although he'll protest it, having lost the ball.
Well, Ryan Aït-Nouri on that left-hand side was doing his version of the river dance, like the old Michael Flatley foot overs there. And to be fair to Dan Ndoye, and wingers don't normally like tracking back, he just stared at him just to say, mate, you haven't moved the ball, I'm not moving. And it was a really good interception from Dan Ndoye, and then he just marauders up that right-hand side, and Aït-Nouri just brings him down.
Kerbal in the Switzerland goal, clips it to this near side, the Switzerland right, just about kept in by Zakaria. He'll chase his own pass, and he's able to knock it off Aït-Nouri for a Switzerland throw-in midway inside the Algeria half. Back down the line it goes to Remo Freuler, formerly of Nottingham Forest, now with Bologna in Italy. Had 18 months at the City Ground, did Freuler, making his 92nd appearance as for Switzerland. They had a lot of experience in there, especially in that midfield.
Well, just looking at their squad, they've got 10 players with over 50 caps, and you can tell how assured that they are. And then you've got the exuberance of Manzambi.
Here's Vargas twisting his way into the penalty area. Still Ruben Vargas. Still Vargas. And eventually it's swept into touch by Nori. It was almost Giggs-like the way he was slaloming his way through the Algeria defence.
To be fair, he was slaloming that much, he actually nearly made himself fall over, wasn't he? He twisted to his right, twisted to his left, then got one-on-one with Belgali, tried to go on the outside of him and just lost his balance.
Here comes Manzambi, who's a bit more direct, literally tries to bulldoze anything that's in front of him. In the end, it's Vargas who concedes a free kick in the right-back position for Algeria. We've got 13 minutes plus stoppage time at the end of the first half, and it's Switzerland 1, Algeria 0.
Yeah, just watching again with that twisting, turning run from Vargas. In the end, Belgali did well because he showed him down the line. That enabled Mondi to get over. Just give that little bit of cover. But from the Swiss point of view, it's just quite refreshing actually. Murat Yakin, obviously the Swiss manager, has basically said to Yohan Manzambi, you can go where you like. When we're in possession, you can go on the left, you can go in the 10, you can go on the right, you can drop deep. When we're out of possession, you make sure you get alongside Embolo and we go 4-4-2. That's the only discipline that he needs, obviously, when his team's out of possession, because it's Embolo and Manzambi set off the press. But in possession, basically he's just got a free rein.
The boos, I think, for the decision. A slight nudge by Nouri on Ndoye.
Right, Reinhard Nouri is a very, very experienced player, right? As the ball's trotting over Ndoye's shoulder, he's going nowhere. He's under pressure, he's facing the touchline. All you do is you get what you call touch tight. You get within half a yard to yard of him, you think, right, you've got to make a decision now when you've got the ball at your feet. Well, all he does, and what the defender wants, Ndoye wants him to touch it. He wants him to push him in the back. Exactly what he does.
Zidane. High to the far side of the field for Algeria. I'd say that Mahrez was beaten in the air, but he didn't even jump. Rodriguez just had to launch himself off the ground slightly to get the winning header. Now the ball is out on the near side for an Algeria throw. Vladimir Petkovic stalking his technical area. Murat Yakin standing still, watching on intently. He led Switzerland to the round of 16 at the World Cup in Qatar. They got heavily beaten by Portugal. 6-1 defeat. Many say that that was actually a bit of a learning curve for Switzerland at the time, but it wouldn't have felt like it. Switzerland leading. Just over 10 minutes of normal time at the end of the first half. Thumped up field on the near side by Switzerland. Freuler can't win it, and Bolo steps in to make a touch. Zerouki comes across to cover and play it back to Luka Zidane. As I mentioned, son of Zinedine, 28 years of age, plays his football in Spain for Granada. Meanwhile, at the other end, Algeria looking to pose a threat, but it's a loose ball which has been given away to, of all people, Yohan Manzambi, who immediately picks it up and flies down that left side. He goes around one challenge, he's brought down by Faris Shaibi, who gets a yellow card, and it's a free kick to Switzerland.
Just talking about the defensive duties of Manzambi there, when it comes into Shaibi, who's playing in the 10 position for Algeria, he has no idea that Manzambi is coming in. That was like when you go and watch a pantomime, it's like he's behind you. He had no idea that he was there. Manzambi just takes it off him and then decides that he's going to roll off the pitch again, takes the Swiss back four another 40-50 yards up the pitch. Shaibi then has a panic up because Manzambi again a little foot over, tries to go on the outside. Shaibi brings him down, quite rightly. Referee Al Falcon gives a free kick, books Shaibi, and it's a really dangerous position for Switzerland, just taking a free kick from the inside left channel, which Vargas will help into the box.
First yellow card of the game to Faris Shaibi. Free kick from the left, which Ruben Vargas will take. It's about 25 to 30 yards from goal. It's a good angle to drop it over the Algeria defence, and that's exactly what he does. In it goes, and it's headed over by Zakaria from around 6 yards out.
Yeah, Zarouki did really well, the Algerian midfield player, because he's picking up Zakaria. It's a really good delivery from Vargas in swing with his right foot on that left hand side. And then Zakaria thinks he's going to get a free header, but to be fair to Zakuri, just make sure that he knows he's not going to win the ball, and then Zakaria just heads the ball over the crossbar.
Dennis Zakaria, 10 years an international for Switzerland. Only made one appearance at the World Cup in Qatar on match day 1. Prior to this start today. 8 minutes of the second half remaining. Switzerland in front through Mbolo's goal. Down goes Xhaka. Takes a quick free kick with Algeria complaining. They shouldn't complain because Switzerland are away with Manzambi. Heading towards the edge of the area. It's passed though. Doesn't reach Mbolo, unlike the goal. And now Algeria can come away with it. A few claims of handball against Bentaleb in midfield.
Yeah, Manzambi just picked the wrong option there. Edge of the 18-yard box, left-hand side. He tries to roll it into Mbolo on the D, where he's got Vargas completely unmarked on his left-hand side. He just rolls it out to him. Game just got a little bit fractious, a little bit bitty. That'll obviously suit Switzerland being 1-0 up. We're just looking at Algeria, that first sort of 8-9 minutes where they dominate possession. But if you looked at the swish back four, they haven't been under any pressure whatsoever because everything is in front of them, everything is lateral. There's no runners, whether it's Mazza said he was dropping in sort of the false 9, looking in to run behind. Mahrez doesn't want to do it because he's saving his legs on that right hand side. Ouar again is dropping deep, so you've got a lot of players that want to get themselves on the ball, but none for Algeria who want to actually do that sort of hard yards where you run beyond the Swiss back four, just create a little bit more space.
Switzerland have possession in the Algeria half. Elvedi clips it to the edge of the penalty area. It's headed away by Algeria, and then it's back down this right side where there's space for Ndoye. Time to look up, play the ball in to the near edge of the 6-yard area. Mbolo tried to direct it towards goal, but Mondi was there to deny him.
Yeah, just loads of space for Ndoye on this right hand side. There's not an Algerian player within 10 yards of him. Just tries to whip the ball into the near post, into Mbolo, who's made that diagonal run across. To be fair to Mondi, he made sure he went with a run, got his block in, corner for Switzerland on their right hand side.
To be taken by Vargas, so an out swinger from Ruben Vargas. Lots of movement inside the area. In it goes, fairly short, and again, like the one from Rodriguez earlier, it's cleared away at the near edge of the 6-yard area by an Algeria defender. So 2 wasted corners.
Yep, right, they're both on an official warning. So this time Vargas from the right hand side out swinging. So now if you were Yakin, the Swiss manager, say right, we will have in-swing corners this time, just to vary it up a little bit, and it's easier then hopefully that you miss that defender at the near post.
Algeria midway inside the Switzerland half, move it out to the far side, their right. Riyad Mahrez, who likes to check in on his left foot, plays it short, and it's swept sideways by Zarouki and clipped forward by Ben Sebaini, looking for Mahrez, and Rodriguez takes no chances in nodding that ball out for an Algeria corner.
Yeah, Ben Sebaini just playing in the quarterback position, just gets onto his left foot, he's just trying to float it over the top of Rodriguez into Riyad Mahrez, who's just gone on the blind side of him. To be fair to Rodriguez, it was really good defending, just make sure he's got his header in. Corner for Algeria over on their right hand side.
An in-swinger from Mahrez, lowish, headed away by Mbolo, back defending. Switzerland try and break at pace, but the move has broken down, and Bentaleb is crouched over inside the Switzerland penalty area. I think he might be slightly winded. He ran and he was actually body checked by Rodriguez as he went to try and get the corner. Now, would VAR look at that?
Do you know what? I don't think there's enough, because Bentaleb just tries to get past Rodriguez on his inside, and Rodriguez puts his right arm out, so it's not really like a full-on sort of body check. It was like a half and half. And Bentlev just goes to ground a little bit too easy, just trying to buy the penalty. Referee not having it.
Zaruki, high ball over the halfway line, headed on by Aouar, cleared away by Switzerland into the centre circle, space ahead of Manzambi, heading towards the left is a heavy touch. He could have released Vargas on the left side, but his touch was straight to an Algeria player. A bit wasteful from Manzambi in what was a really good position.
Yeah, to be fair to him again, he's picked it up in that inside left position, just a bit frustrated with himself because got a little bit too excited, had a heavy touch. In the end, Bagali was able to just nick it off his toe.
Now on the left, near side for Algeria, into the penalty area, right-footed shot, takes a slight deflection off Elvedi from the effort by Shaibi into the arms of Kerbal.
Yeah, just a really good switch of play from Riyad Mahrez from the right back position over to Ua on this left hand side, just flicks it inside, plays a little give and go. Shaibi decides to just let it roll across his body, gets his shot in the end. Elvedi just does the long barrier as if you're fielding out on the boundary when you're playing cricket, and just takes a little nick off his knee, takes all the sting out of the ball, goes into Kerbal. Easy save for the Swiss goalkeeper.
2 attempts apiece on target in this game, with Switzerland leading through Mbolo's goal. We're 2 minutes away from the first 45 being completed, but we will have some added time at the end of the first half. Aouar on the near side, in front of the Switzerland head coach Yakin, with bright white trainers on, into the penalty area. Shaibi lays it off. Ait Nouri just outside the D. It's then clipped in towards the back post, and scrambling to try and meet it was Rafik Belgali, but he couldn't quite keep the ball in play.
Yeah, it's good build-up play from Algeria on the left-hand side. Ryan Ait Nouri just playing a little give and go with Ua on the 18-yard box. Then he just tries to dink it over Rodriguez's head to Belgali coming in on the blind side. Probably needed a pitching wedge instead of a 7-iron, a little bit more loft on it. But just encouraging signs for Algeria, just starting to move the ball that little bit quicker. But from the Swiss point of view, just coming up with a minute before half-time, obviously just want to see this maybe sort of 4 or 5 minutes out.
And take that advantage into the break that they have. Here's Mazza, clips it over the top and down the middle towards Mahrez, who is making the run. Switzerland stifle them. In the end, it requires Vargas to thump the ball high into the Algeria half. Zidane has to backtrack to meet it, and he bowls it down centre field to find Mondi. Out to the near side, Ben Sebaini to the halfway line, laid off by Aouar. Now it's Bentelev, back to Aouar, just inside the Switzerland half. Gets the run of the ball, moves down this near side. Ait Nouri wants to exchange passes with Aouar, but they can't do it properly, as the fourth official holds up the board to say 4 minutes of added time. Switzerland 1, Algeria 0.
Yeah, we only really had that injury, didn't we, to Manzambi. We just got his foot trod on. Apart from that, we haven't seen any of the medical staff from either team come on the pitch. I think just a little bit of frustration just sort of creeping in to the Algerian play. We'll say, well, they're getting into the final third, but haven't really found that spark, bit of imagination. And at the moment, you have to say the difference between the two teams is Yohan Manzambi.
Algeria attacking though. Here's their youngest member of the squad, Mazza. His pass across the penalty area is short. It's cleared away, and Zidane comes way out of his goal to meet it. Almost probably 20 yards shy of the halfway line. Still inside the Switzerland half, away to the left. Rodriguez away. Mbolo, the goal scorer, chests it. Can't find a teammate. Throw into Algeria.
Yeah, Mbolo should actually have just taken that into himself rather than try to chest it off to Vargas on that left-hand side. Just got to make sure you're playing up front on your own, that you hold the ball up, engage the centre halves.
Ben Sebaini midway inside the Switzerland half, to the left here to find Ape Nouri, back to Ben Sebaini, across the back to find Mondi, and then it's worked out to the right. Mahrez has got 2 Switzerland players for company, uses the help of Bengali, back out to Mahrez again in line with the edge of the area, and it comes early. Bentaleb leaves it, and it's a snapshot that comes in after it was laid off by Aouar, and the player who had the shot was young Ibrahim Maza.
Yeah, Maza just snatched it. Riyad Mahrez just feeding the ball into the box from that right hand side with his left foot, comes to Aouar. Aouar actually tries to take the touch with his thigh, then it comes to Maza. So Maza just needs to compose himself just a little bit, just take a deep breath, make sure he gets a good contact, just snatches it completely and goes harmlessly 4 or 5 yards wide.
Algeria trying to get an equaliser before the break, but they're running out of time. 90 seconds or so left of the first half. Headed away by Elvedi to the halfway line. There's a flag for an Algerian player being offside, so it'll be a Switzerland free kick away to our left. They're leading through Breel Mbolo's goal after 10 minutes. Algeria made a really good start to the game, but they were completely hit on the counter-attack by Switzerland, who had been pretty quiet, sat back, soaked up the play, and then sprung a surprise.
Yeah, we just said obviously about the Swiss, it was if they were just having a little look at Algeria, weren't they? Say, right, what you got, how are you going to set up, what are you going to go about it? We'll just have a little look at you, we'll throw a few little jabs, and then it come to young Yohan Manzambi, who actually then throws that knockout punch with a brilliant run down the left-hand side. And ever since then, you have to say the 2 Swiss centre halves, Elvedi and Akanji, have really had their cigars on, Michael. They'd had no problem whatsoever.
Xhaka likewise in that central midfield area, that pivot in the middle, just picking up all the loose balls, being the connection between defence and attack. Doesn't really go very far, Granit Xhaka. Tends to operate very centrally and right on cue with 4 minutes of added time played. Referee Yael Falcon brings an end to a first half which has seen just the 1 goal scored by Breel Mbolo, his 2nd of this World Cup, made by a brilliant run down the left from Yohan Manzambi on the counter-attack after Algeria had made the better start. They've had 1 or 2, I would say, tame efforts on the Switzerland goal. It's been a half of few clear-cut chances. How would you assess it, Perry Groves?
Well, you'd say obviously that Algeria have dominated possession, but Switzerland have controlled the game. Switzerland are just very comfortable out of possession, just looking at Algeria, where it's all been sort of in front of them, all been very lateral. Algeria hadn't really had a threat in behind because Maza is playing up front, wants to come in the 10th position and plays at the false 9. Say the first 8 minutes where Algeria were on top but didn't really test Kerbal in the Swiss goal, and then Switzerland thought, right, we've had a look at you, we've seen what you're about, now we're going to eat you on the counter-attack. And it was brilliant play down the left-hand side from Granit Xhaka initially, just rolls it into Vargas on the left-hand side, then he plays it into Manzambi. He runs about 30-40 yards up the left, gets himself 1v1 with Mondi, the Algerian centre-half, and Mondi's actually shown him down the left. If you're going to show him down the outside, you've got to make sure that when you do that you get your tackle in, and he didn't. He actually let him skip by him. Manzambi gets to the byline, and then it's whether he can pick the right pass. Exactly what he does with his left foot, he just puts it back across the 6-yard box, and then Mbolo, like every top centre forward should be, in between the posts, he's only 4 yards out, just sweeps it over with his left foot, basically into an empty net, because Zidane, the Algerian goalkeeper, comes to his near post. It was totally against the run of play, but it was a brilliantly crafted goal.
So, half-time in Vancouver in the round of 32 at the FIFA World Cup. It's Switzerland 1, Algeria 0. Thank you, Ollie. Perfect timing. Switzerland are about to restart this game. Neither team has made a change at the start of the second half, so we start with the 11s that began the game. Switzerland just waiting for the cue from television. Oh, we've got another countdown first of all, I forgot about that.
Don't forget the countdown clock.
Yep, not just the first half, but the second half as well. Well, at least we know when it's going to kick off. And Switzerland through the goal scorer, Briel Mbolo. Get this second half underway. Switzerland in all red, attacking the goal away to the left. Algeria in all white, attacking the goal away to the right. Switzerland have Kerbel in goal, Zakaria, Elvedi, Alkanji and Rodriguez at the back, Freuler and Xhaka in midfield, Ndoye, Manzambi and Vargas behind the goal scorer Mbolo. Algeria, Zidane in goal, Belgali, Mondi, Bensebaini and Ait Nouri in defence, Saruki, Bentaleb and Shaibi in midfield, Mahrez, Mazza and Aouar up front. And already Algeria have given the ball away inside their own penalty area. They haven't cleared well. It's driven back in by Dan Ndoye. And 47 seconds into the second half, Switzerland have doubled their lead, but Algeria have made the task of getting to the round of 16 hard on themselves, because it's their error. Switzerland 2, Algeria 0.
Well, it took Switzerland 10 minutes to get out of the traps in the first half. It took them just over 10 seconds to get out of traps in the second half. I'm just looking defensively, looking at Algeria. Belgali, it's a shocking clearance. He's in his own 6-yard box. He should be hoofing the ball clear and making it go at least to the halfway line. He snap hooks it with his left foot. He comes out to Ndoye just on the edge of the 18-yard box, gets it onto his right foot. He smashes it past Zidane low down to his right hand side, gives him absolutely no chance whatsoever to put Switzerland 2 up against Algeria here in Vancouver.
Really, 2 actually bad clearances from out of the penalty area. The first of them was a loose pass out to the left back position, which was picked off by a Switzerland player, and then the Belgali clearance was straight to the feet of Ndoye, who gave Luka Zidane no chance whatsoever. Murat Yakin off the bench. As a coach, having just done your half-time team talk, how much of a fillip must that be to score straight away?
Just takes the pressure off, Mike, doesn't it, to be fair? Said Algeria won't switch on in any defensive situation. In the left back area from Ait Nouri, and then his fellow fullback Belgali, just a really, really poor clearance. And to be fair to Ndoye, it was a really, really clever finish, because he actually gave Zidane the eyes with his instep. Zidane thinks he might be going to his left hand side, just whips it across him low down to his right hand side. Just a shocking start for Algeria. Just looking over to their manager Vladimir Petkovic, you just see the disappointment on his face, where you want your team to be on the front foot, and that has taken the wind completely out of their sails.
And he's gone straight for the notepad and pen to make some notes, but he's just done his team talk. He'll get an opportunity to speak to them during the hydration break, which I suspect, even at this early stage of the second half, they will quite happily have, because they now have a task of scoring at least twice to keep themselves in the World Cup. Switzerland 2-0 up inside their first minute of the second half, thanks to the first goal of the tournament for Dan Ndoye of Nottingham Forest, and his 35th appearance for his country. It's a big lift for Switzerland, who are already in relative control of this game from the first half. Never really troubled that significantly during the first period, and then Algeria, causing their own downfall, hand them an advantage, a greater advantage.
Yep, you could just tell that none of the Algerian outfield players were switched on at all. So the half-time team talk from Murat Yakin, the Swiss manager, she wanted them to start sharp on the front foot.
Chance now for Algeria though to come back down this near side into the area. Mahrez's shot is blocked. The best opening of the match for Algeria. Really good break down the right by Belgali, who made the mistake for the second Switzerland goal, and his delivery was a really good one.
You expect the net to ripple when it falls to Riyad Mahrez, centre of the 18-yard box. Brilliant play from Belgali down the right hand side. Just make sure he's in acres of space. Just has a little look up. He knows that Riyad Mahrez is coming in late. And from about 14 yards out, Mahrez just lets the ball roll across his body onto that cultured left foot of his, and he actually doesn't get the right contact because he's hit off his heel, and that gives the chance for Zakaria, the right back of Switzerland, just to get across and get the block in. Just see Riyad Mahrez there shaking his head in disappointment. Player of his quality should be scoring from there. Very unlike him, because normally he's got clean feet, where say he just side foots it, uses the pace of the ball and gets it off his heel, and that gives Zakaria the chance to get his block in.
He did that in the Austria game, didn't he? One of them he swept in true Mahrez fashion. At the moment he's in deep conversation with Rami Bensebaini. There's always a player down. Ibrahim Mazza was down inside the Algeria half, but he seems to be back on his feet again. He's off the pitch, having received treatment. So Algeria down to 10 men. They've intercepted a Switzerland pass. He's got to wait a minute to come back on, so that gives an advantage to Switzerland.
Yeah, just looking at Algeria, mentioned Mazza, obviously he's just gone off. He's actually dropped back into 10 position, and Ouar, who was in the 10 position the first half, he's the one who's gone up front as like sort of the false nine. But I'll be amazed if Vladimir Petkovic, the Algerian manager, doesn't start making any changes, especially in the forward area, because they've had no focal point whatsoever. There's no threat in behind.
Well, the main person he'd probably look to would be Mohamed Amora, who was the top scorer not just for Algeria in qualifying, but for the whole of African qualifying. He got 10 goals in 10 qualifiers. He's on the bench. Came on against Argentina. They also have the likes of Amin Gouiri, who had started all 3 games, but Switzerland are trying to attack here to put this game beyond any doubt. Mazza's back on, and he touches it infield to Zerouki. He turns, surrounded by red shirts, and Mahrez in a deep-lying central position. Plays it to the far side of the field. Switzerland 2, Algeria 0 on TalkSport. 7 minutes into the second half in this round of 32 game in Vancouver.
Yeah, I think what you'll find now, Riyad Mahrez, obviously the Algerian captain, who normally plays on the right-hand side of the three behind the centre forward, probably going to get a little bit frustrated. He'll start to wander, as we saw there, get himself a little bit more centrally, get him more touches, see if he can get the Algeria intensity and pace to the game just going a little bit more.
Algeria building from the back in the centre circle with Bensebaini out to the left side for Ait Nouri. Stepping in to prod the ball away is Zakaria. Completely turns possession around, and Switzerland have a throw in inside the Algeria half.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see now with 53 minutes played is obviously Switzerland are going to be in no hurry, to try and press from the front. They'll say to Algeria, you can have the ball in front of us, try and keep themselves in possession, because they're in a very, very, at the moment, comfortable position. But we all know that football can change very quickly if Algeria can nick the goal and the momentum shifts. But even on the defensive side, Mike, it just like normally Switzerland will be like a 4-4-2. It just looks like Manzambi just dropping that little bit deeper to help his central midfield players out, and then drop into like a 4-5-1.
As it stands, Switzerland on course to reach the round of 16 for the 6th time in their last 7 World Cup appearances, but they've gone out at the round of 16 on every single occasion. Their best performances at the World Cup, we have to go all the way back to the early World Cup tournaments, 1934, 1938 and 1954. They got to the quarter-final. They've never gone any further than that. But they're on course for the round of 16 and a meeting with Colombia or Ghana, who play in the early hours of tomorrow morning. That's another game you can hear on TalkSport, as there's a foul inside the Switzerland half.
We're just seeing the example there of how well organised Switzerland defensively and the work they put in, because it was Dan and Doy there just making sure that he's protecting Zakaria, the Swiss right back, so they always double up on like a 2v2. Vargas does that on the left hand side, get himself in front of Rodriguez, make sure he gets his tackle in, and just a little bit of frustration there from Bentaleb, just tripped him up, quite rightly, the referee Falcon, the Argentinian referee, who's actually don't want to go too early, Mike, but he's actually reffed this game really well, isn't he? He's let it flow, he hasn't got too involved.
And no VAR, and certainly not intervening anyway.
And one yellow card.
Yep, one yellow card for Faris Shabi. The yellow cards, incidentally, if you're wondering, were wiped after the group stage, so we're back to 0 again. So if Algeria were to come back and get through to the round of 16, he'd be on a yellow going into that game. But we'll cross that bridge if we get to it, because at the moment Switzerland are in control, and they have it on this near side with Ricardo Rodriguez back to Manuel Akanji and now Granit Xhaka, 3 very experienced international players, to the youthful Yohan Manzambi, who wants to take on his man Belgali down this near side. Good play by the Algeria defender, who's responded well to making that mistake for the second goal. He's not gone into his shell.
Yeah, there's better defending there from Belgali, 1v1 from Manzambi, just rolling it out to this left hand side, did a couple of little foot overs, rolled his sole of his boot over the ball a couple of times, and Belgali just made sure he concentrated on the ball, didn't watch the feet, got a good little tackle in.
Gianni Infantino is watching on from the stand. He's been at a lot of games at this World Cup, been accruing a fair few air miles across the course of the tournament, which is been a talking point for some journalists.
Do you think he turns left on the plane? He's not turning right, is he? No chance.
11 minutes of the second half played in Vancouver. Switzerland 2, Algeria 0 in the round of 32 of the FIFA World Cup, bringing you every game live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Coming up later today in the round of 32, Australia, Egypt from Dallas, Adam Bridge, Scott Minto, 7 o'clock kickoff, and then at 11 o'clock Miami for Argentina and Lionel Messi against Cape Verde and Voznia. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce will be there. Here comes Switzerland down the far side there, right, infield it goal, nice dummy from Ndoye, who keeps it alive to the left-hand angle of the area. Vargas onto his left foot and right across the face of the Algeria goal, with Mbolo waiting for the cross.
Well, Mbolo has just given Vargas the 40-yard stare, because really good play from Ndoye, just cuts in that inside left position, has a little stumble, manages to toe poke it out to Vargas on the edge of the box, has a little foot over, goes on the outside of Mondi, and then all he should be doing is just rolling the ball across 6-yard box. Then Mbolo gets a tapping at the far post, gets caught betwixt and between, where he has like a cross shot, doesn't even hit the target.
Substitutions being made by Algeria, double substitutions. Zarouki and Aouar are coming off for Algeria, and the 2 players coming on in their places, I mentioned earlier, Amin Gouiri, who had started all 3 of the group games. The winger is on the field, as is Jouin Ajam, who started against Austria, having come off the bench against Jordan. Ajam is one of only 2 players who play their football in Switzerland domestically. The rest of them are all outside of the country. So they know Switzerland well in terms of their opponents, but at the moment it's not doing them any favours, because Switzerland lead by 2-0, and Algeria's fans, who we're getting a glimpse of now, are starting to look a little concerned, because we have almost just over half an hour of normal time remaining, and they need 2 goals at the very least. Perry Groves.
Yeah, well, they haven't been a threat at all in this second half, apart from the Riyad Mahrez chance where you expect him to sweep the ball home. Really good cross from Belgali, but other than that, just coming up to an hour played, Switzerland look very, very comfortable, look very assured in possession. They've got experience going right through the spine of the team. Akanji was at centre half. We've got Granit Xhaka playing in the holding midfield role, and then Bolo up front.
Zakaria down the far side, the Switzerland right, piling his way through the Algeria team all the way to the edge of the area, and Bolo plays it in, looking towards Vargas, and Zakaria is cut out by Bentaleb, who turns and screams at his defenders for not closing down Dennis Zakaria.
Yeah, he just had bundles of space over on that right hand side. To be fair to Bentaleb, did really well defensively for his team. Obviously playing that holding midfield role, found himself in the left back position, made sure he tracked the run of Zakaria to get the block in at the near post. Goes out for a corner for Switzerland on their right hand side.
An in-swinger from Ricardo Rodriguez away to our left. It's a high one towards the back post. It's curling and it's too high because it harmlessly bounces out for a goal kick to Algeria.
Yeah, I don't think the set piece coaches of either team will be getting any bonuses, will they, Mike? 'Cause the corners especially from both teams have been really, really poor. So that time there, this Rodriguez, who just with his left foot just overhits it completely. Ball goes out for a goal kick for Algeria, and then they get the ball and they hit it straight out of play.
Throw into Switzerland on the far side, back to Nico Elvedi, and across to Manuel Akanji, the former Manchester City defender, 4 years at the Etihad. He spent the last of those on loan at Inter. Back to Elvedi again, into Remo Freuler. Also played some football in the Premier League for Nottingham Forest. Careful build-up from Switzerland into the pivot. Xhaka uncharacteristically gives the ball away with a loose pass. Now Mazza for Algeria, trying to spring an attack quickly and find Guiri, but he couldn't. And now Xhaka comes away with it. Glides past one Algerian midfielder, but then again the pass doesn't find the intended target of Ndoye. And Algeria have it back. 2-0 Switzerland lead.
Yeah, it's good play initially from Granit Xhaka, just spinning away from his marker, the outside of his left foot, and then Ndoye could be free on that right hand side, and Granit Xhaka just should put the ball into the space inside Hajam, who's just come on at left back for Algeria, ends up hitting Hajam and giving the ball away. So from Algeria's point of view, Guiri will just go up front and give him the focal point. Hajam will come in at the left back position, and that means that Ait Nouri will play a lot more advanced on that left hand side, see if they can give it a little bit of quality in the final third.
If you've just woken up after going to bed earlier, if you missed the Portugal-Croatia game, you missed high drama in a pulsating second half of that match. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a penalty after Ivan Perisic had given Croatia the lead. Then Ramos got what proved to be the winner, although Croatia scored in the dying moments of added time, only to have the goal ruled out by a snickometer decision, not just a VAR decision. It was not visible, the contact that found Pasalic offside. It was a snicko decision, and Croatia were crestfallen and out of the World Cup. So it's Portugal against Spain next Monday in Dallas in the round of 16. Ronaldo against Yamal.
Yeah, and watched Lamine Yamal in the earlier game for Spain, and it was like watching a PlayStation game. You know, when you see a player dribble. Obviously, Oyarzabal got his brace of goals, and to be fair, Spain won the game 3-0. When you looked at it, it could have been 5 or 6. They were on a different level.
So after that goalless draw against Cape Verde at the beginning of the tournament, Spain are getting into the groove. And often that does happen to teams like Argentina at the Qatar World Cup. Got off to a poor start, but gradually got better and better and won the tournament. Switzerland have won a corner away to our left. It's come off Mondi. And we've had almost 20 minutes of the second half. Switzerland leading through goals by Briel and Bolo and Dan Ndoye either side of half time.
That's exactly where you want to be if you're Switzerland. Vargas just get the ball on that left hand side, trying to get the cross in first time. Mondi just defensive, does well, defends the space, gets his block in, but corner for Switzerland on the left-hand side, which Vargas will take. In no hurry to take it, in swinging with his right foot.
Ruben Vargas has got to put the ball on the quadrant.
To be fair, it was at least a centimetre away from being in the quadrant.
Yeah, could make all the difference. Vargas, corner is low to the near post. It is glanced on by a Switzerland player, but the referee has spotted an infringement, so Algeria get a free kick. They've got to up their game a little bit here, Algeria, because they're running out of time and they have a lot to do.
That was a brilliant chance from Elvedi at the near post. We're talking about the poor quality at the corners. This time it was a good one from Vargas from the left-hand side, in swinging with his right foot, and Elvedi's completely unmarked at the near post. He just gets it glanced across his forehead, where if he gets a touch on it, ends up in the back of the net, and the game is done and dusted.
Algeria trying to work it through midfield. Nabil Bentaleb, formerly of Tottenham Hotspur, has now worked out to the far side to Manchester City's Ryan Aït-Nouri. Back into Bentaleb again, moving towards the penalty area. He wants some players to come a little shorter for him rather than being static as they were. Out to the right, near side as we look. Mahrez has played it in towards the dead ball line, but Akanji has come across and denied Belgali the chance to get there. You just feel, don't you, apart from that Mahrez chance, that there's no real sign Algeria are going to get back into this game.
I think that the Algerians are running out of belief. You know, they're sort of looking around each other. See Bentaleb there get frustrated with Belgali, wanted him a bit more movement, and comes out to Mahrez. Mahrez tries to roll it into Belgali, who goes on the underlap on this right hand side. Just see Riyad Mahrez again going a little bit more central, trying to give his team that little bit of inspiration, but every time they've got into the final third, apart from that Belgali cross where Mahrez should have scored, it's broken down, and there's not enough sort of intensity about Algeria in their play. There's not enough dynamism. You know, it's all very sort of laboured, all very one-paced. You say Switzerland just look very, very comfortable.
There is some more African participants in the World Cup still remaining. Egypt have got to play Australia in the next game. Ghana are playing Colombia. Morocco already through, and we have a hydration break, which I think is rather beneficial to Vladimir Petkovic, the head coach of Algeria. He needs to talk to his players, because his half-time team talk went out the window when Ndoye scored within a minute of the restart.
Yep, as you say, Vladimir Petkovic has probably got his most important team talk that he's had in this hydration break. Basically, Algeria have got 22.5 minutes to save themselves from being eliminated from the World Cup, and at the moment you'd say apart from the first 8 minutes they haven't done anything to deserve going through into the next round. They just look a little bit flat, sort of bereft of ideas. I'm just wondering if Vladimir Petkovic might just change up. So Guri's come on, you know, as a centre forward, given the focal point. Maybe need to put two up front, you know, and get crosses in from the wide areas just to try and create a little bit of havoc, a little bit of mayhem, because Elvedi and Akanji said before, they've had their Havana cigars on, like they through the whole game. They haven't been troubled at all.
They look a little forlorn, the Algeria players.
But what happens is that they're all looking around each other and hoping that someone's going to provide that spark, that little bit of inspiration, where you have to be taking responsibility yourself. You said about Riyad Mahrez, obviously he's been drifting in from that right hand side, and he's had like the best chance that Algeria had in the game, where normally you expect him to sweep it home as the ball comes across his body with his left foot, ends up coming off of his heel. But obviously Switzerland getting the ideal start after 45 seconds begin the second half. Well, Belgali, ball comes into the box, and again that is just basics, where when you're a defender in your own 6-yard box, you've got to make sure, worst ways out, that you clear the midfield area, that you actually, if you're like hacking it clear, that you clear the midfield area so it goes halfway line, you can like push up. And what he does, he panics with his left foot, he just snap hooks it back to the edge of the box, comes to Dan and Ndoye, brilliant first touch out of his feet, second touch even better, gives it down the eyes and whips it low down to his right hand side. So ever since then, it's like, you know, when you get a boxer who knows that they're ahead on points and they think all we got to do is I've got to keep putting my left jab out, you just got to keep your arm's length so that you can't throw a haymaker or an uppercut, and just keep you at bay. And Algeria don't look like they have they've not even swung any punches, let alone, you know, getting a knockout punch.
Switzerland might not have the dynamism of, say, France, as they're preparing a couple of substitutions, but they are so difficult to beat, aren't they?
Yeah, so they just look very assured. We said before, like coming into the game, one defeat in the last 17 matches, which you can tell, and they've just got a lot of experience that runs through the spine of their team.
Double change for both teams at the moment. Ruben Vargas is one of the players coming off. It looks like Manzambi might be going as well. It is. Yohan Manzambi, who created the first goal, is now departing. And the two players coming on in the place of Vargas and Manzambi are Noah Okafor and Fabian Rieda. As for Algeria, Anis Hadj Moussa is one of the players wanting to come on, along with Ichim Badawi. Need another of the boards for the fourth official. So coming on in the places of Riyad Mahrez and Nabil Bentaleb, two of the most experienced players on the pitch, are Anis Hadj Moussa of Feyenoord, started against Argentina, subbed on against Jordan. And the other player, Ichim Badawi, who started against both of those nations, Argentina and Jordan.
Well, Badawi just come into that midfield area. Just a like-for-like substitution. Just seem to give a bit of fresh legs, a bit of innovation there, because Bentaleb likes to obviously drop deep, but you need to play a little bit further up the pitch.
We have a yellow card. It's the second yellow card of the game, and he's only been on the field about, what, a minute or so. Badawi has just been booked for a foul on Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, it's just really late there from Badawi. Yeah, Granit Xhaka is a scything two-footed tackle from Badawi. Lucky for him is he's got his studs facing down to the turf. Just a little bit of over-exuberance, just catching Granit Xhaka on the knee. Just looking at the referee, saying to João Falcão, any chance of you getting the yellow card out? And the referee went, yes, there is every chance, and I've just booked him.
So second yellow card for an Algeria player, Faris Shaibi being the other one. As I mentioned earlier, the yellow cards are wiped out after the group stage. They're also wiped out again after the quarter-final stage. So they don't have a situation where a player goes into a semi-final on a yellow where they could miss the final.
Bit of common sense from FIFA, who'd have thought it?
Perry Groves on TalkSport.
A bit cynical.
There's always something to complain about, isn't there? I tell you what, if you're a Croatia fan, you'll have plenty to complain about when you wake up this morning, because they will feel like they were denied a legitimate equaliser in the game against Portugal. They're out of the World Cup. The Portuguese go through to play Spain in the round of 16. And the winners of this tie at the moment, it looks like Switzerland are going to play Colombia or Ghana in the last 16 of the FIFA World Cup. Switzerland leading 2-0 and pretty comfortable, Perry.
Yep, very comfortable. So I can't remember after the Riyad Mahrez chance, about 5 minutes in the second half. Can't remember Kerber in the Swiss goal having the save to make.
Just going back to one of those substitutions for Switzerland, Noah Okafor, of course, of Leeds United, making his first appearance of the World Cup, having not been involved in the group stage. And Switzerland are coming forward down the far side with Zakaria. Pokes it down the line for Ndoye. There's a runner at the back post. It's behind them. The rebound is sent in by Rieda, blocked by an Algeria defender. But coming in at the back post was Okafor. So the two substitutes heavily involved in that move.
Yeah, Rieda should be scoring. If he just takes the touch, a little bit of composure, just comes to him first time, tries to sweep it in with his left foot, gets blocked on the line. Massive chance to Switzerland put the game to bed there. Say two substitutes, impactors. having the desired effect for Switzerland.
Just over 15 minutes of normal time remaining. Algeria need to come up with something soon. They have it on the far side with Guiri in field to find Shaibi, and now towards this right side where Anis Haj Musa, who's a tricky winger to deal with if you're a defender, really quick feet, and he's showing that now with a step over, and he manages to get a touch off Rodriguez to win the corner for Algeria. If anyone's going to spark Algeria, it's Anis Haj Musa.
Yeah, Haj Musa just ticking the ball off on that right hand side. He's left footed, just has a little foot over, tries to go on the outside of Okafor, who's just getting back.
Haj Musa's corner is headed down by Akanji inside the area, and then half volleyed clear into the Algeria half by Ricardo Rodriguez, volleyed back by Zidane, and then the compliment returned by a header. Now it's at the feet of Anis Haj Musa on this near side. Good challenge from Rodriguez, who won't be fooled that easily. He's an old head, he's seen it all before.
Yeah, just looking at Okafor just coming onto the left hand side for Switzerland, just giving Rodriguez a little bit of protection, as you mentioned there about Musa.
Played forward by Rieda towards Mbolo down the middle, intercepted by Algeria. Now they're running away with it. Fresh legs of Jaouin Ajam, just shy of the halfway line. Infield to another as the substitutes. Badawi. Now Haj Musa. He's got two red-shirted Swiss players for company. Goes to the angle of the area, checks onto his left foot, wants to send the cross in really, has to go square. Algeria work it towards the far side. Out to their left. Ajam, right foot shot, but it's a flighted high delivery which is not going to trouble anybody.
Yeah, Ajam cutting in from that left hand side. Didn't really look like he had any confidence in his right foot, and if you're Switzerland, that's exactly what you want. So Algeria sort of running out of ideas. So Ajam, the left back, so getting his right footed shot, just goes about 20 yards over Kerbil's goal for Switzerland.
They've just won a free kick for a foul by Belgali on Xhaka. The two of them then square up to each other, and a few other players like Freuler and Rodriguez come in. Rodriguez, to his credit, was trying to break it all up. And no cards being issued by the referee. Switzerland have a free kick. And it looks like Granit Xhaka's 150th appearance for his country is going to be a winning one.
Well, the thing is, I think it's a bit of howdry there from Granit Xhaka, because he knows that Bergali's a little bit frustrated, and it was a foul. And then Granit Xhaka gets up, he picks the ball up, and then gets a little bit closer to Bergali, then he gets in his face, just trying to ride off a little bit more, trying to get a reaction.
I never knew he did that.
That's very out of character for Granit Xhaka.
That was a regular occurrence when he was an Arsenal player. Good play here by Rieda. Pushes it towards the right. It's just forcing Ndoye out towards the corner flag, but still in Switzerland's possession. 12 minutes on the clock. Into Xhaka, 30 yards out. Moves it towards his left side for Rodriguez. Forced to first time push it forward and not quite find Okafor. He then goes in a bit heavily on Belgali. Algeria being hemmed in, and eventually it's Xhaka who commits the foul.
Yeah, it's unusual from Granit Xhaka there, because he has no pressure up in the centre pitch. He just needs to roll about Rodriguez on this left hand side, just overhits it. That means Rodriguez has to stretch, he can't get it into Okafor. I'm just looking for Switzerland's point of view. Rieda will go and play alongside in midfield alongside Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka will just sit that little bit deeper, and then Rieda can do all the running alongside him.
This is being managed really well by Switzerland, isn't it? It's not particularly exciting, but they're very businesslike.
Very, very professional. As I said, they haven't really been asked a lot of questions from Algeria, because Algeria don't look like they've got the belief that they can get themselves back into the game. And Algeria have never won a World Cup knockout tie, and it looks like that jinx is going to continue.
Switzerland attacking, and Mbolo with a, oh goodness me, that was an effort which goes about 10 rows into the crowd behind Zidane's goal, and it wasn't even over the crossbar, it was way off the target.
It was nearly out the stadium, to be fair. He went not down at the ground, you say, because the pitches are absolutely perfect. There's no bobbles or divots or deviations. Let's put it this way, mate, it's not going to be on his show reel.
Looks to me like that challenge on Belgali is going to force him off the pitch. He's struggling at the moment. Nadir, is it Benbouali? No, Balbina. Adil Balbina is the player warming up at the moment. Came on as a late sub against Argentina. He's preparing to come on. Although he's a left winger, but you can see that Belgali is struggling. He's had a lively game. He gave the ball away for the second goal, but he has ventured forward a lot. Haj Musa gets himself in a tangle inside his own half, and now Switzerland have it on the far side of the field with Zakaria. Infield, gets the return ball. Zakaria crosses it in, and at the back post, it's missed inexplicably by Fabian Rieda. Had an open goal, and he's played it back across the face of the goal when it was easier to score.
That is actually hard to do, as you said there, because it's really good play on Switzerland's right hand side. The ball comes out to Zakaria, plays a little give and go and do it, and then Zakaria just whips the ball across the 6-yard box, and Bilo gets across the near post as he should do, and basically for Ada it's a tap in at the far post. He's actually gone with his wrong foot, because if he just goes with his right foot and just sweeps it home, he's let it roll across his body. As it's rolled across his body, he's basically played it straight back to Zidane, and the goalkeeper saved it. That's a shocking. That is probably the miss of the World Cup, because I'm saying he's only 2 or 3 yards out. The Swiss fans, obviously they can have a bit of a wry smile about it and laugh about it, but I don't think the manager Murat Yakin would be laughing if Algeria go up the other end and score within the next sort of 5 minutes, and put Switzerland under a little bit of pressure, because that was a gilt-edged chance to put the game completely away from Algeria.
Like you say, you could have a wry smile, because in the grand scheme of things it probably won't matter unless it's a dramatic turnaround, but what a miss that was from Fabian Rieda. Now, the scorer of the first goal, Bril Mbolo, is coming off at this late stage, so Switzerland making a change. That goal he scored was after 10 minutes. The assist was impressive though from Yohan Manzambi, and on in Mbolo's place is Zeki Amdouni, who plays for Burnley. Came on as a late sub against Qatar earlier on in the tournament. And Algeria have made a change as well. We suggested that it would happen. They brought off the right back Belgali because he was injured, and on his place Adil Balbina. 7 minutes of normal time left. Switzerland 2, Algeria 0, and no sign of Algeria causing a late comeback like the drama we had against Austria.
No, none at all. So there's no relief from Algeria. They haven't managed to create any jeopardy for the Swiss back four whatsoever.
They're going out with a bit of a whimper, aren't they?
Yeah, you'll be disappointed. You want a little bit more fight, a little bit more spirit.
But is that down to the way Switzerland play?
It is, because obviously Switzerland are very, very controlled, so they're very good defensively. But I think, you need to just go out with a little bit more passion. So get the ball in the wide areas. Obviously Musa's come on, playing in this, wide right position. Ait Nouri's gone a bit further on the left-hand side, and say you'd be disappointed in a player like Ait Nouri. Obviously plays for Man City. We've played loads of games in the Premier League where you think, well, come on then, you try and have effect. You try and get your team going. Maybe have a row with a teammate and try and get them riled up. Just hasn't happened whatsoever.
Switzerland have run the central midfield, haven't they, with Xhaka and Freuler. They've been in complete control, and Algeria venture forward again. The move breaks down. Rodriguez does his job in left back, and Switzerland have this 2-goal advantage, although they do have Dennis Zakaria down now. Might be cramp, or it seems as if it might be more serious. He's down on the edge of the penalty area. Murat Yakin is looking towards his bench. Algerian fans in the crowd, well, they're resigned, aren't they?
Exactly, just their faces are one of resignation, where they think, we don't believe that our team can get themselves back in it and nick a goal. So you're just going out like the wind has been taken out of their sails, which you can understand, you know, it can happen in games, but then you think, right, I've got to have a reaction, got to have a little bit of sort of anger, a little bit of passion, fire in my belly. That hasn't happened.
This is their 5th appearance at the World Cup finals. The only time they made it into the knockout stages was 12 years ago in Brazil, where they were beaten after extra time by Germany in the round of 16. They're not going to get as far as that now, unless there's a remarkable change in their fortune. Switzerland got 2 more players that they're readying to bring on. They're going to have to wait to make those changes. They've got Sylvain Widmer and Michel Abisha by the touchline. The referee has given a free kick, and it will give them the chance to make those substitutions. Or is he going to wait further? I think they want to do it. They're waiting for the board again. Abisha's waving to the referee, saying, come on, can we make the substitutions, please? We want to get on the pitch. Play is resumed. So both Widmer and Abisha are still waiting to come on, and Murat Yakin is now a demonstrative figure as Algeria attack away to the right, and now there is a chance to make the changes. All a bit shambolic, Perry Groves.
One job the fourth official's got with it.
There's 2 fourth officials doing it. And Doy, who scored the second goal, is making way. Nice finish for the second goal, albeit the ball was given to him.
Yeah, there's a brilliant first touch of his left foot, just cushioned the ball down onto his right foot and just whipped it across Zidane, low down to Zan's right hand side. And from then on, you have to say that the game has just been all in Swiss's hands. They've been very, very controlled. They haven't really had to break, if I'm being honest, Mike, they haven't had to break sweat, have they? Hadn't looked under any pressure whatsoever.
So the 2 players, Widmer and Abisha, are on. Ndoye and Zakaria have gone off. So that means that Murat Yakin has made all his changes. Unless, of course, we go to extra time, he's allowed another one. But I don't think he's going to have to worry about that.
No. So his team haven't really, since Ndoye put them 2-0 up, haven't had to get out of second gear, haven't had to expend a lot of energy, which obviously will do them in good stead for the last 16 tie where they played the winner of Colombia or Ghana.
2-0 down, Algeria are attacking with Anis Haj Musa, clips the ball in, way offside was Adil Balbina, and Gregor Kerbel is saying to the assistant referee, must have been offside, can you raise the flag please? And he does.
Yeah, Balbina was probably 3 or 4 yards offside as Musa cut in from that right hand side, just trying to ease it in with his left foot. Just really sloppy play basically from Balbina, because you just see there how well marshalled the Swiss back four are, because when Musa then cuts in from that right hand side, then the Swiss back four are ready, obviously, and the Kanji who marshal, they just push up another 3 or 4 yards. It's all in sync, and that plays Balbina offside. I know it's just, you know, basics, but you can just tell they've been very, very well marshalled.
Been in complete control at the back, Switzerland. And with 90 seconds of the 90 remaining, they are heading for the round of 16, as Perry says. They're going to play either Colombia or Ghana next Tuesday. Those 2 play in the early hours of tomorrow morning. And Switzerland will be here in Vancouver again for the 3rd game running, if that is the case.
And perhaps they might play some Celine Dion at half-time rather than Bryan Adams.
You have a quiz for different musicians and actresses and actors who come from Canada. A lot of famous people come from Canada. Ryan Reynolds, Seth Rogen, to name 2. I mean, there's a whole, no, there are a lot more.
Wayne Gretzky, was he Canadian, the ice hockey player? There's a tester.
I don't want to say yes or no. Not sure about that one. Mike Myers is Canadian, isn't he? Austin Powers. Anyway, we digress. There's some football, but there's not much happening because the ball is in central midfield and Switzerland are running the show. And they're running the show in second gear, really. Free kick, foul by Algeria, who, I mean, they were just, the killer blow was the second goal, right at the start of the second half, wasn't it? That just completely, you gave the phrase, took the wind out of their sails at the time.
Yep, completely deflated. So they're looking around each other, sort of abjectly staring into space, basically, not trying to cajole each other, not trying to rouse each other. The Swiss fans are having a proper party now, because they're watching the game and they're thinking, sometimes at 2-0 you can be a bit edgy, can't you, a bit nervy. You think, well, if you can see the goal, then, you know, we're going to be under pressure. Since the 46th minute, apart from the Riyad Mahrez chance where they should be scoring, it's been so comfortable. You know, never believed that this was a knockout tie. You'd think this was one of the group stage games, you know, where both teams, you know, are qualified already.
You never know, though. Haj Musa's attacking down the right edge of the area, and he's worked his way in, but he's not going to get past the old head Ricardo Rodriguez, who's been rock solid at left back.
Yeah, again, Musa picks the ball off on that right hand side, a couple of foot overs with his left foot, but we see about the discipline of the Swiss players, because obviously Rodriguez doesn't want to be 1v1. Amdouni, who's just come on, he makes sure that he gets back and he doubles up. So when he engages Amdouni first and goes past him, then that enables Rodriguez just to step across Musa and just basically run him out of play.
Free kick given by the referee on the near side. We're into the second of 6 minutes of added time in this game. Switzerland leading by 2-0. Their fans in the crowd are swaying from side to side, singing, and they don't have to go anywhere. Just they can stay in Vancouver for a few more days before the round of 16 tie. I haven't watched all of the games in full in the round of 32, but this has to be the easiest passage through by any team. The least amount of resistance.
Yeah, and the least amount of jeopardy in the game as well. So apart from that first 8 minutes.
Still, Algeria in the penalty area have a shot through Mazza. It's headed away and out, and there's a foul by the substitute. Has already been booked. Has to be a little careful, does Ichim Boudaoui. And that just eats away at more time. And it just looked deflated in the second half completely.
Of any ideas. There's no, you're going out of the World Cup, right, the round of 32. There's no anger in the Algerian players. There's no passion. There's no fire in their eyes. They're not trying to rouse each other up. Basically, it's just been like a damp squib. And it's, even for Switzerland obviously going on to play the winners of Colombia and Ghana, they haven't had to overextend themselves in this game, have they? It's just been like, since they've gone 2-0 up from Ndoye's second goal for Switzerland, they've just played sort of at half pace.
It's been a coast. Haj Musa into the penalty area, gets it back, and then he plays it into the area. And that pass almost sums up the situation. Complete miscommunication between Haj Musa and one of his teammates, and the Algeria fans in the crowd just look to the skies.
Well, it was Guri. When it comes out to Musa, Guri's in the centre forward position. You expect him just to make a little darting run and try and get himself in behind Elvedi and Akanji, and Guri just stands staring at him. Musa just rolls the ball. They stand and they just give each other sort of an apologetic little wave to each other, don't they? They just say, "Oh, sorry about that, don't worry."
Switzerland have it just inside the Algeria half. One back by Mazza, then one back by Xhaka, who decides, let's play it back to the goalkeeper and take some more seconds off the clock. 2 minutes of added time to come, and the referee, quite frankly, could blow the whistle now. It wouldn't make any difference.
Yep, he could have blown the whistle probably, halfway through the second half. Like said to both teams, do you want to go off? And obviously Switzerland would have wanted to. Algeria, probably while they're playing, would have said, yeah, not a problem.
Brought down really well inside the penalty area by the substitute Amdouni, but he got blocked off by Ben Sebaini. And now Algeria, over on the far side in their left back position, come forward. There's not even been a sign of any consolation goal, let alone a comeback. Earlier on, last night, Spain 3, Austria 0. Oyarzabal scored 2 of the goals, and they'll play Portugal in the round of 16 after Cristiano Ronaldo scored a penalty and Ramos got a header in what was a highly dramatic finish to that game, where Croatia scored in the dying moments only to have the goal ruled out for a touch, a sneakometer touch that couldn't be seen visually.
Just to add insult for injury for Algeria, Valverde, who's just come on as a sub for Algeria, just been pulled up for a foul throw.
Akanji nods it away, Xhaka collects, Freuler plays it back to Akanji. It's so easy for Switzerland. They've been in total control of the second half, and they had a fair bit of it in the first. They did start on the back foot. Algeria came out of the blocks quickly, attacked them, but then they got stung by that counter when Mbolo scored. But as soon as Ndoye got the second at the start of the second half, it was all over, and there might be an added third goal here as it's blocked off. It's going to fall for Freuler, straight at Zidane to deny Switzerland a third.
Yeah, there's a great little flick there from Raider, like a Cruyff flick over to Amdouni on this left-hand side. Amdouni should be getting it onto his left foot, then it goes out to Okafor. Okafor should be getting his shot away. It's blocked. Final whistle goes.